Are there any school sports models, schools that you've come across, Tatyana, that strike you as exemplary? Wow, you guys have really figured out some amazing things here.
I can personally say when the lawsuit happened at my high school, Athelton, that when my sister entered in high school, it was all perfect. Like it was great. She didn't have a problem. Kids didn't see her, high school students didn't see my sister Hannah as someone different. So that was a huge barrier within just my community. Again, when we talk about community, they became really supportive once they actually knew what was happening and what my racing chair actually was, and what my disability is, and it was all coming together. And so when Hannah joined, the coaches were respectful for her. They said, Hannah, like, is there any way we can help with your workout? What do you want to work on? What's your goals? What events do you want to do? So they started asking questions to her. And so sometimes it just takes a little wake up call.
To the best of your knowledge, how well are schools living up to the mandates, the federal mandates around providing opportunities for students with disability?
Yeah, so, I think like I said before, my lawsuit, when it became federal, was like a trampoline. So it set a ground and it prevented people from going any lower. I still believe that there needs to be education within coaches, right? Because coaches need to be more welcoming to students with disabilities. Because if you're not welcoming and you're not encouraged, then why would I want to continue to try out for that team, right? So if you're turned away, I think that we still need to educate coaches and about adaptations and about sports. And it's really not that hard to do, but it's about breaking that misconception again. It's just that people need to be educated. People maybe need to be encouraged to be, educated. And again, breaking that barrier. And, it's about being respectful that adaptive sports are real sports. And my racing chair is like, a baseball glove. It's like a pair of running shoes. And so, yeah, I still think that we've come a long way, but we still have further to go when we talk about, full inclusion, and we want to make it bigger and really encourage more and more students to, to try out. But they have to be welcomed as well.
There are different types of disability. Obviously, there's physical disability, there's intellectual disability, there are other forms as well. Is that possibly an opportunity, is like maybe within the school environment for, the parents of kids who have whatever form of disability to develop a collective voice and talk to the school about, this is more than just one or two kids out here. You have an obligation to really think about the needs of all students.
Yes, definitely. I think parents are so powerful, and I'm so lucky for my parents, because again, they were that voice to that school. So I think parents can come collectively and say, this is the facts, this is what is happening, and present that to the school, because you want solutions, right? And that's what we're trying to do right now. What's the best solution? How can we have these students with a disability participate in high school sports? So whatever it might be, if it's volleyball, that's easy. You don't need, extra equipment, and, maybe if it's a basketball chair, they can go to New Motion and get a basketball chair that's at low cost. Maybe they can apply for grants at CAF. So there are ways. I think power of a group is really important because my power of a group was my mom and I, my family, and our wonderful Lord who believed in all this. So I think it's more of a community base will do a lot better.
I want to ask you about what type of sports system you believe we should be aiming to build for children in this country. Let's look out to the year 2028, right? The year of the LA Olympics and Paralympics. What type of sports system do you think we collectively can and should build by then?
My dream would be one day magically wake up, is one not seeing as a person with a disability so different, right? And I think that having a Paralympic Games in LA 28 is going to be our saving grace, because that is our goal point. We want to make sure that, the inclusion is definitely happening by then. And if we want to recruit more Paralympic athletes in the future, we have to start today. We have to start in our communities. We have to start in our school systems. We have to, it is grabbing those 10-year-olds. It is grabbing, those 15-year-olds maybe. It's now. We're really need to focus on the youth now.
Yeah. So this incredible film, Rising Phoenix, which I saw the other night, is so inspiring. It's the best of the human spirit. Thank you for helping get that out the door. What do you hope it achieves?
So the Rising Phoenix tells about the history of the Paralympics, but what it also does is breaks barriers in talking about disability. And when we were talking about when we were going to have this film coming out, we decided this is the perfect year to have it. During this time, people are thirsty for sports. There's, to watch something in the afternoon, but it's also the perfect time to educate people and to educate about Paralympics and about disability and the inequalities that are happening globally. It's not just the United States, it's everywhere. And I felt really empowered after I watched this film. I really wanted to go to compete at the Paralympics the next day. So I just hope that, with anyone that watches this film that has a disability or not, that they can feel empowered to become something, that they can feel empowered on achieving their goals.
And the last question for me is, so COVID-19 has obviously shut down many sports, made kids inactive. How do we keep kids interested and physically active so this time off doesn't cause them to permanently retire, and especially kids who have disabilities?
Virtual meetings, virtual meetups on weekends. So I did a virtual meetup for the NYRR program, and they meet every Saturday. So I think having 1 or 2 days where they can virtually meet up, go over exercises, have maybe an Olympic athlete or a Paralympic athlete there, to going through exercises and, talking about the importance of sleep and the importance of, a proper diet and training and what they can do to stay active during this time of COVID, because it is different, and giving tips on, how to deal with, the uncertainty, because that's hard for a lot of people and it's really hard for the youth as well. It's hard for kids. So I think virtual, it's almost like having like a little camp. It's so important and the kids love it. So I think that's something that should be added more routinely.